Hello and welcome to our SJ&D information session. My name is Gabby Lippy. I am a proud graduate of the SJ&D class of 2008 and also serving as our Director of Admission. I'm joined today by the other members of our enrollment team, Mr. Sean Obligacion, our Admission Associate and graduate of the class of 2015. And Mrs. Eileen Graybiel, our Director of Enrollment Management, as well as an alumni parent. This four-part informational series allows you as prospective families to connect with key members of our SJ&D school community. And today our focus is on visual and performing arts at SJ&D. And you will be able to hear from some awesome faculty members and current students who have passion and excitement for this area. So thank you for joining us. I would first like to start by introducing our principal, Ms. Julie Guevara.
Thank you, Ms. Lippy, and welcome everyone. It's a wonderful evening to learn about SJ&D's visual and performing arts. And we're excited to share what our program and our faculty offer. Before we begin, let us start with a moment of prayer. Every day here at SJ&D, we begin our day with prayer. And today's prayer is the prayer for peace from St. Francis. So let us begin in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love, for it is in giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it's in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Again, like what Ms. Libby shared, my name is Julie Guevara, and I serve the SJ&D community as the principal. I'm also a patron of the arts. Growing up in the San Francisco Bay Area, we have access to so much art around us. Oftentimes, we take for granted what we have right at our fingertips. So I want everyone to kind of tap into their creative selves, and knowing that the arts do increase our creativity, allows us to express ourselves and to communicate. And what's awesome here at SJ&D is not only curricularly, but co-curricularly do our students and our faculty get to express that. We are very blessed to have a group of faculty that not only get to combine their love of the arts on a daily basis with engaging with the arts, but also teaching it. And they themselves are acting professionals on a daily basis. So be sure to kind of use the Q&A to ask them about their professions as artists and also as teachers. And then you'll get to hear from our students right now. And whether, when we say visual performing arts tonight, they'll go through what that is, whether it is choir, photography, theater, band, and the visuals. So they'll talk more about that. But right now, students, why don't you guys introduce yourselves to everyone out there.
Hi, my name is Mikhail Ishiginsky. I'm a senior here at SJ&D, and before I came here to SJ&D, I attended SJES, and I'm involved in our school's band program.
Hi everyone, I'm Carla. I'm a senior at SJ&D, and I previously went to St. Phil Neri in Alameda. Here at SJ&D, I'm a part of band and choir.
Hi, I'm Elisa Lopez. I'm a junior at SJ&D. The school I previously attended was All Saints Catholic School, And at SJD, I am involved in musical theater and choir.
Hi, I'm Charlene Hollogg. I'm a current junior at SJD. I previously attended St. Bede Catholic School in Hayward, and the VAPA programs I'm involved in are musical theater, and I was involved in choir.
Hi, my name is Sarah Wheeler. I am a senior, and I previously attended St. Philip Neri in Alameda as well, and I am involved in the art program as well as the National Art Honor Society.
Hi, my name is Kola Chen. I'm a senior. I previously went to California, or now it's known as Coastline Christian Schools, but it used to be Chinese Christian Schools. And I'm part of the art program as well.
Great. Thank you, students, and thank you, Principal Guevara. We are also thrilled to have our VAPA, or Visual and Performing Arts, department faculty members with us. And they will be introducing themselves and speaking about their experiences as teachers and about their subject. Following their introductions, we will conduct a live Q&A, and we welcome and encourage your questions. And as they are introducing themselves, you can feel free to start using the Q&A feature, which is at the bottom of your Zoom screen, and we'll make sure that all of your questions get answered live. So to start us off, I'd love to introduce our VAPA department chair, Mr. Mark Ritter.
Get off mute. Sorry about that. Hello, everyone. It's really great to be here. I'm excited to talk about our VAPA program. I work with, as Gabby mentioned earlier, an awesome set of professionals who really are great at what they do and really engage with the students and the other faculty members. One of the things I'm most proud of is that kind of engagement and community that we build here at SJD. Students, faculty, teachers work together on the arts at school. So you see art everywhere. You hear it in the hallways. You see it on the hallways. And so it's a really great kind of art-filled community. But we also go outside the community. We reach out with service projects. We have exhibitions off campus. We have shows off campus. And so students learn as artists to develop their own artistic voice, and then also to learn to have opportunities to bring that out to the community. In particular, my area of expertise is visual arts. And so I teach art, the hands-on art in the art room. I teach Art 1 level, which is kind of an overview where students get to experiment with lots of different materials and start to develop their techniques. In the Art 2 level classes, there's several different options. There's drawing, painting, which are classes that I'll teach. Mr. Fuoco sometimes teaches drawing with me. And Mr. Fuoco teaches photography, digital illustration and design, and advanced photography in our digital arts program. And then after that, we have 3 levels of honors art, pre-AP, honors art senior portfolio, and AP art. Our program overall with visual arts is very successful. Students enter contests. We win awards pretty much every year. Our AP program has a 100% pass rate for, 15 years. And so students are very engaged. We're really proud of what we do in all of our programs. And so for me, I've been here about 30 years. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I continue to be excited. I really love seeing what the students create. And it's always inspiring to me. I tell the students I learn more from them every year than I don't know if I can give them as much as they give to me.
Thank you, Mr. Ritter. And Mr. Fuoco.
Hi, I'm Mr. Richard Fuoco, and I teach, I teach photography. I teach advanced photography and motion art. I also teach digital illustration and design. And like Mr. Ritter said, I have helped teach drawing and Art 1. I taught in China for 4 years prior to coming to SJD. This is my 3rd year at SJD. I have a few students here that can probably help explain what's going on, but I can also attest that in the AP program, I do try to help out with the digital side of everything as well. Mr. Ritter is awesome, but sometimes I just get to step in and help a little bit more than I did it today with Sarah. So just a prime example of how we get to help everybody, be it choir, theater, not so much that I get to help with music, but if it's there if it's needed. So Yeah.
Thank you. And Mrs. Sokola.
Hello, I am Paula Sokola. I am the instrumental music director here at St. Joe's. I've been here 20 years and I teach all levels of instrumental music. So we start off with our concert band 1 for anybody who wants to learn an instrument. Concert band 2 is our intermediate level. And then we have honors levels 1, 2, 3, and 4 in all of the instruments. So we have our symphonic band classes and our percussion ensemble. So we also have a lot of extra musical groups. We're going to be starting with some cohorts coming up real soon with my strings club, which Miko's a part of, and our jazz band club, which Giancarlo he's the president of that club. And also we have pep band, so we get to go play at the basketball games. And we also go on field trips. We are going to go to Great America once we're able to go to theme parks again. And we do Christmas events. We'll play at the Reindeer Run. And we've even played performances at the Children's Hospital during the Christmas season. So we are just out and about doing what musicians do best, which is sharing our love of music, all of our disciplined practice and skills. We get out, we don't just keep it contained in the band room. And now that we're virtual learning, we're taking a lot of time working on technical skills, working on those details that perhaps we don't always get when we're with the entire ensemble. And then when we get back together, man, we're gonna rock this place. So welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Sokola. And Miss Rosie.
Hi, I am Lauren Rosie. I am the director of the theater program at St. Joe's, which means I am responsible for all things theater during school and after school. Our theater classes consist of 4 levels of musical theater in which you can participate as a performer, technician, director. You kind of get a full theater experience in those all 4 years. And then after school, we have a co-curricular theater program that you actually don't need to take theater class in order to be involved in. We do a fall play and a spring musical. And I am proud to say that we've managed to keep those going in a pandemic somehow, some way. So I have been teaching at St. Joe's for 8 years, and the program is very much my baby. And it is a really wonderful, thriving program that consists of clubs, honor societies, classes, productions, and pretty much all the things you could ever dream of in a world of theater. And I think my favorite thing about our theater program is that you can be involved in band and be involved in theater. You can play basketball and be in the musical. It's not, you pick one and that's what you got to stick to for all 4 years. I'm really proud of the fact that our students are able to participate in everything that interests them, including theater.
Thank you. And finally, Miss Van Treese.
Good evening. My name is Lanessa Van Treese. The students call me Miss V, and I am the choir director here at SJND. This is my 4th year teaching at St. Joe's and my 8th year teaching overall. The choral program is back in action. It existed before I came to this campus, but there was a small break in the choral curriculum classes, but they are back this year. For the first year, we have 2 offerings, mixed choir and mixed concert choir. We have we have a student who's in mixed concert choir this year, and he is working hard to make sure that he can share his instrument with our full community. We also have the primary focus of those classes is to build on the basics of vocal technique, sight reading, music theory, music history, but also to build the confidence of the singers, build the confidence and get them to learn how to be ensemble members. We also have an extracurricular option similar to the music theater program and the band program. Our extracurricular group is called One Voice. And in One Voice, they are able to perform on campus and off campus. We perform at our Dream Flight event, masses. We have a Christmas concert. We are still, even though we are remote right now, we are still doing a Christmas concert on December 19th. So hopefully we'll see you there. And the students are just allowed to have in the program, they have a lot of opportunities to grow as soloists. They have opportunities to do one-on-one mentoring, but our sole focus, our primary focus is to make sure that they learn how to be ensemble members.
Thank you, Ms. Ventris. So, here we go. I wanted to, as you can see, we are very blessed with the teachers that we have, and we have a very robust program, and one that both my children were part of at different stages, and just was a wonderful experience for them. So we're going to go into, again, a reminder, if you would like to ask any questions, please put them into the Q&A or into the chat as well, if that's more comfortable for you. And what we're going to do is just go through a series of questions and hope to hear from you. So the first question I would like to ask Mr. Ritter, can you share how you observe that the VAPA courses allow students to challenge themselves and grow both in high school and beyond?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I think all of the teachers in the department do is make a connection with their students. And so when they leave school, we hear back from them things that they're doing. So I know in visual arts, I have students who are professional artists now, and they'll sometimes just check back in and say, hey, you know, what we learned at SJND really helped us to be successful in our profession. I know that that's true in band, in musical theater, and in choir also, that students are really connected and they keep engaged. So I think one of the things that's most successful about our program is that students stay engaged with the arts after they leave SJND. While they're at SJND, I think what happens is they learn to build their voice and to feel comfortable to get themselves out there and perform. I know from musical theater, like I had one art student who got involved in the musical, and I thought she was shy, but she ended up being a lead 1 year finishing up. And so there is this great interconnection that happens in the arts at SJND, and students go out, and even if they don't become professionals in the field, it still becomes a really key part of their lives.
Thank you. A question in the Q&A is, can you do choir all 4 years? Ms. Ventris?
Absolutely, you can do choir all 4 years. Since this is a newer program, we're still working on some of the logistics of that, but basically students will start in mixed choir. Most students will take mixed choir for 2 years, although they have different curriculum throughout those 2 years. And then once they are prepared, they'll bump up to mixed concert choir. As I said, still a work in progress, but definitely can take for all 4 years.
Great, thank you. Another question in the Q&A. Your graduation requirements include 2 years of arts. Do students get to choose their visual performing art courses, or are there particular requirements? If you want to speak to that, Mr. Ritter.
Sure. So usually students will choose one for the first year and be in that program. But in the second year courses, students can change. So if they're interested in, let's say they're doing choir and then they want to play a band instrument the second year, they can do that, or vice versa. I have visual art students who started in visual art and then went to band, and vice versa. So students do move around. It's not, oftentimes the program students start in, they stick with, but there's movement. Yeah, so it's not like they have to stick with what they picked their first year.
Thank you. I'm going to ask music student, we will go with Miko. Can you describe your band or music journey through your time at SJND?
Yeah, so I started initially in freshman year in concert band 1. And so I actually missed the deadline for auditions in my 8th grade year. So we moved that to sometime in the first month of school, and I got to transfer out of Concert Band 1 into Symphonic Band 1. And so sophomore year, I got to participate in Honors Symphonic Band 2. And then band hasn't fit into my schedule for the past 2 years. So I've elected to take our ensemble workshop, which is a 0 period, and we do meet for a slightly shorter amount of time each week. And now we're actually getting credits for it. So the time that we're investing into the program is showing up on our transcript. During my time at SJND, I've become a member of the Tri-M National Music Honor Society, and I've become involved in 2 clubs, the Strings Club and the Jazz Band Club, of which I am both officers in.
Nice, that's great. Question in the Q&A. In the theater program, what does a technician do? Miss Rosie?
Sure. So a technician in theater could cover any matter of things, from being a sound designer, working backstage, helping with costumes, designing costumes, lights. It can be lots of different things. So from the very start of their freshman year, our students are trained on how to kind of look at theater in a big picture. So not just enjoying the performances on stage, they look really critically at how it all gets put together. And they are able to put that into practice when we do our extracurricular shows. And I think one of the really cool things that we do is we have professional lighting, sound, costume designers that serve as our managers of the design team. And then students are able to work with these industry professionals and get training. So we've had students who were interested in fashion design, and there wasn't really an opportunity for them to take a fashion design class in their community, but it gave them the opportunity to work with a professional costume designer, and they got to build costumes and work backstage for the shows. So being a technician can cover a majority of different things. And at SJND, you can choose to be on stage, or you can choose to work backstage.
Great. Big picture is great. Next question. How do we learn about when the auditions are for band? Mr. Kola?
So at the beginning of the new year, the students will be taking their placement tests and all of that good stuff. And once that's more organized with admissions, which is Ms. Lippy and Ms. Graybill, then there will be a questionnaire for students who have expressed interest in joining band. And then usually around March, we will have it's not really an audition. It's more of a, let's come, we'll get together in the band room, bring your instrument, bring some music that you've prepared to play. And then I have some sight reading materials for the students. And it helps me meet the students, first of all, which I love to meet them. So the students coming in, gives the students an opportunity to play and demonstrate their skill level. And honestly, some students will come in and like, ooh, well, I'm here because I wanted to be in band, but I really don't have any experience. And then that just helps us know what placement we can properly get the student into. So like Miko said, he missed the audition, and that actually happened this year because we went into our shelter in place right as we would have had our band placement. So it was, there's sometimes a period of time where once we get into the classroom, then we can also further evaluate. So if you do miss the placement time to come in to have your abilities and your skills evaluated, there's always the opportunity at the beginning of the school year to also get that. But normally it happens March, about maybe late March. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it coincides right with spring break. So
it's after the registration time frame, which will be the end of March. So usually end of March, early April. Yeah, it's great. Thank you. Ms. Van Treese, is it possible for students to participate in choir and drama at the same time?
Great question. Yes, it is possible. I know our counselors do a really good job working around students' schedules and trying their best to fit all the needs of the students, the needs and wants of the students. So sometimes there are issues with schedule conflicts. So that is why both programs have the extracurricular side. So that students, if they can't take it as a class, they can also join One Voice which meets during lunch, or join the musical, which meets after school.
Great, thank you. I would like to direct this question to Sarah. How have you grown and developed your skills within the art classes that you've taken? And what style of art do you enjoy the most?
Well, I started in Art 1, which was kind of just an introduction to art. It has things like from like drawing portraits all the way to like pottery. And from there, I moved into Art 2 with Mr. Floco, and I did digital illustration and drawing. So those were two kind of opposing mediums. And then in my junior year, I went into pre-AP art, and that whole year I was doing paintings and drawings. And then this year in AP art, I've actually moved back into doing photography and using like Illustrator for my work. So if I had to choose one, it's kind of hard because I keep switching, but at the moment I'm really enjoying like using Photoshop and Illustrator in my projects. But traditional art is something I've been doing for a while as well.
That's awesome. It's a great use of many options in the program. I'm going to ask the same question of Koa. So Koa, how have you grown and developed your skills within the art department, and what medium do you enjoy the most?
Well, like Sarah, I started in Art 1, where, like she said, I developed my skills early on. Like the fundamentals, figure drawing, there's the shading, the fundamental things. Then I progressed over to Art 2, and I took painting with Mr. Ritter. That was the fundamentals of painting, so it got a little more specific. And so I was able to translate over my skills from drawing and the stuff that we learned in Art 1 over into Art 2. So things like shading with painting instead of with pencils. And then I also did Art 2 drawing with Mr. Fuoco, and that was really fun because usually everyone knows how to draw, and so it was just advancing that, making it advancing your skills more and more. And then I wasn't able to take it in my junior year because scheduling conflicts, but I still pursued it after school and whenever I had time. So now in senior year, I'm taking AP art, and right now I'm doing mixed media stuff. Usually painting, like the stuff back here, painting and drawing, usually with tempera and acrylics, and some pastels and things like that. So yeah, it's really fun.
I see.
And I would say my favorite medium is probably right now it's tempera, because it's not as shiny, it's not as glossy as acrylics, so it's easier to see, and also it's pretty malleable. It's pretty easy to work with. So yeah.
I see your artwork behind you. Is there anything you want to show us or bring up closer to the camera?
I really like this one because it took me a lot of time to do the money part.
Oh wow!
The hand.
Very
But
cool.
the only problem is this one's not too proportioned, so I'll be fixing that. And that's the great thing about painting is you can just overlay it and you can really change it up. So if you made a mistake, then you can just cover it up, and so that's really great.
What is the painting product, or what is the style of that?
Oh, that one's tempera. I used I used colored pencil to do the really detailed parts because I don't think I can do that with a really small brush. But yeah, I used tempera for everything else. And yeah.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So I will ask this question of Mr. Fuoco. Can you take photography for all 4 years?
Well, right off the bat, you can't. As a freshman, you take the full year in Art 1 with Mr. Ritter or myself if I'm teaching it that year. But then as a sophomore, that opens the door to all the Art 2 levels. So Art 2 photography is only 1 year, or sorry, a semester class. And then you can take advanced photography, which is a new class this year. But then essentially that's only another semester course. So that's only about a year of photography that you can take right now.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Mr. Kola, is jazz band a class or a co-curricular?
Yeah, so jazz is great. We do it in our curriculum, so it's built into the mostly the advanced levels, but also intermediate level. We do jazz charts every year, numerous jazz charts. We study scales and soloing within the course curriculum. And then the Jazz Band Club has developed over the since last year to give more support and opportunity for smaller jazz ensemble playing. And it's very heavily student driven with guidance from me as the advisor. And it's been I mean, they've had gigs going out and playing for events, and it's been a really wonderful thing. So it is a combination with jazz band of being in a larger ensemble where we make our jazz in class, and then taking it a step further in a smaller jazz ensemble with the extracurricular.
Great, thank you. So there.
Can I add to my previous answer? I forgot to say that photography can then be explored in AP, pre-AP. So it's project-based learning, just like Sarah was today. She's working on photography. She's coming to see and advancing those skills. So she learns based on that. So essentially you could continue taking photography into senior portfolio, pre-AP or AP.
Great, thank you, that's great. So there is a question in the Q&A. What are all of the different art programs that you give? And I know, Mr. Ritter, you kind of overviewed that in the beginning, but maybe if we could just be, I think if each one of Richard and you, Mark, could talk about what you teach from an art perspective, because I think it might be pointed more towards that. You're on mute, Mark.
Yep. Thank you. I try not to interrupt the rest of it. So it's visual art question then. So I mentioned earlier, and Sarah, I think, mentioned it in COA 2, the Art 1 class everyone comes into. We get into the fundamentals of art theory, like understanding how to talk about composition, how you organize and design things, the principles and elements of design. But we explore a lot of different materials and mediums so that students get, one, it's fun, you know, and get to try lots of different things. So we do printmaking, we do some ceramics. We learn how to draw things to look realistic. Actually, at the beginning of each year, I survey my students and I find out what they want to learn. And almost every time it's, I want to learn to be more creative and I want to learn how to make things look real. And so there's a big focus in the program on that. We do combine some art history so that they have an overview from art from some different cultures and different time periods in history as a foundation. And we get the language for the whole program in that class. So that's why everybody starts there. After that, it specializes. So like Ko was saying, he learned about painting, he learned about drawing. And I think he did digital illustration also, or was it painting and drawing? Okay, it was Sarah that said that. And so at those levels, it's kind of like developing skills further, but also what happens is artistic freedom starts to open up more too. So at the Art 2 level, students are choosing what the subjects they cover in their projects are. We're training them in skills. When they study art history, they actually do style books where they pick artists that are interesting to them. Sometimes we'll give them a choice of several artists and they'll do one, but they also can choose artists on their own to study and write little reports about and demonstrate, you know, show pictures from them and just kind of figure out like what art is about a little bit more like on their own in a certain respect. And then as you go to the advanced level classes, I'll let Richard chime in. Well, why don't you chime in now about photography and
Yeah, well, photography, again, we scaffold based on what we've learned in Art 1. digital illustration scaffolds, or it can be transferred between drawing. Now we combined desktop publishing and digital illustration into one class, which is now digital illustration and design, where they get to learn to draw using Photoshop, Illustrator, using Wacom tablet, as well as creating designs like magazine covers, using words to communicate. And photography, advanced photography, we'll be using studio equipment, and we're going to also do an intro to video, because photography and video, it's the gateway to video.
Great, thank you very much.
Yeah. And then just
sorry,
to finish up is after that, then the third year level is honors art courses, pre-AP, senior portfolio, and AP. And so pre-AP is for students, usually they're juniors who may want to take AP art as a senior. And it's a portfolio-based class. In that class, students are completely choosing the projects that they do. They need to actually design a theme on their own and create several works related to that theme. And they work in any medium that they want that makes sense for them. So it might be drawing, painting. Sarah has done everything and tried, combine all of it. So it's like more and more open to create that opportunity for an artistic voice.
Great, thank you. Question in the Q&A, I'm going to ask Isa. How often do you perform in the choir, and to what audience?
Oh, so with choir, we usually do some performances, like if there's open house, we usually have some performances there, and we do Dream Flight, as Ms. V mentioned, which is a big like banquet thing, and we do different performances. And one of our biggest is the Christmas concert, which has been like an annual thing now, which is really fun. And we also do sometimes, we do, I don't believe it was this past year, but we did it in some cultural assemblies we also performed in. But it's, and basically the audience is to the school or parents, incoming students, and our audience is very large and anyone can see our performances. So yeah, it's wherever we are invited to sing, or if we want to make our own performance like the Christmas concert. But yeah, those are our shows.
I'm going to add to that question for you, Isa. Why do you love choir?
I love choir because one of my biggest passions is singing, and I actually got really excited about it when I went to my first open house when I was in 7th grade, and I met Miss V, and she was just so cool, you gotta join choir. And I was like, okay. And I was really excited about it. And once I got to my first day, I went straight to Ms. V's room during lunch because I heard there was a meeting. And I love choir also because just the community aspect of it. Also, it's just it's like a big loving family of singers who all love doing the same thing. And every lunch meeting is a party. It's always such a great time there. And yeah.
Thank you. That's great. I'm going to direct this question to Charlene. What is the experience of being in theater like?
Being in theater is great. Honestly, I have to say that it's one of my favorite things at SJND is the theater program. I'm a part of both. I've been doing the musical theater class for all 3 years that I've been here, and I've also been a part of all the co-curricular musical theater things like the play and the musical. And like Isa said, one of my favorite things about being in theater is the community. Miss Rosie facilitates a really loving and supportive community. Everybody that I've met through the theater program has been extremely supportive. And everyone's very uplifting. It's a very fun time being a part of theater. And along with improving my skills as a musical theater artist, singing, dancing, acting, it also has really built up my confidence, being on stage and doing things like that. It's really helped build up my confidence, and I've met a lot of friends because of theater, and yeah.
Great, thank you. Miss Rosie, I'll go behind that question with a question directly for you, which is, what is your favorite thing about teaching musical theater?
That's a really hard question. Ever since I was 5, I made a decision that I was going to do theater, and I never veered from that decision. So I am grateful that I have a life in theater, both as a performer and as a teacher. And the thing that I think maybe the thing that made me want to become a teacher rather than just performing on stage is that I have seen the incredible gifts that being a theater artist can give you. Like Charlene said, it can give you self-confidence, and like Isa shared, it can give you family, but I've also experienced personally how it helps you grow as a human being, and your ability to advocate for yourself, for your ability to speak in public and push yourself beyond any boundaries that you thought you might have. And getting to watch my students, whether they're freshmen or they're seniors, continue to grow and push themselves, and watch that every single day is the greatest honor that anybody could ever have. And the fact that I get to be a part of it is incredible. And I think, you know, the girls would probably tell you that every day I say that it doesn't feel like work. And every day I say that they are my pride and my joy, because at SJND, and I think all of us in our department would echo me in saying this, is that it never feels like a job. And our kids are the best part of our day. And that's why we call them our kids, is because we treat them like they are our own.
Thank you. Giancarlo, can you describe your band and music journey through SJND?
Yes, I can. So prior to SJND, I've never been part of a band. I've just played piano for a few years. I got pretty good at it. Played for a couple of gigs, and that's all. So I've really had no experience going in. But as I auditioned and I went into class on the first day, I really felt like I was welcomed into the class. Ever since then, I've learned lots of things about composition, about harmonies, about writing for other instruments, history of artists and their music. So yeah, there's a lot of area of growth in the class on whatever level you're on. And other than that, there's lots of opportunities outside of the classroom. You can join pep band, you can join my club, jazz band, strings club. Yeah, just lots of fun things they can do in and outside of class. There are so many things that you can do, and it's just been lots of fun since then. I've grown a lot as a person, as a musician, and yeah, it's been a really great 4 years.
It's very fun to hear you sing, Giancarlo. So there's a question in the Q&A. I'm going to read the whole question, but I think we can have a student and the teacher answer. In beginning photography, do students have to bring a camera? Would they use their own phones, digital point and shoot, actual film cameras, or what's that we use? So I would like to ask Sarah, in the beginning photography, do you have to bring a camera?
You don't have to. The school has Nikons that you can use. I've been using my own Canon, and I'm taking a photography class right now. And since like not everyone has a camera or we're able to pick one up from the school, we do use like phones too. So Mr. Foco has like adjusted the curriculum to address like all different types of cameras and just like ways to shoot. But if we were in person, everything is like supplied to you there.
Great. Mr. Foco, do you want to talk about if they can use their phone cameras, digital point and shoot, and actual film cameras?
Yeah, I mean, I encourage that everyone uses a DSLR, but in the situation that we are at home, not everyone has access to that. At the school, we do have 15 DSLRs right now, all Nikons of varying models. Every year I buy a few more to add to the lineup. But I do encourage students to use their own DSLRs if they have them at home. But this year, or being in shelter in place, I've adjusted the curriculum, like Sarah said, to use the point and shoot, or you can use your cell phone cameras. When we are in class, there are certain projects, like the first project or our exercises, where they can use a cell phone camera or point and shoot. But for projects, I'm trying to get them to utilize and really use the camera settings and really control what they're doing instead of just putting it in automatic and clicking the button. I want them to compose, but also know the physics or what happens when you change the shutter speed, what happens when you change the aperture, what you do with the ISO. So it varies throughout the year. But this year at home, I've dedicated it strictly to cell phone use. But students asked for cameras. I opened it up to the floor. Students asked for them. They came and picked them up. I gave them tripods. We have a tripod for every camera. If we are lacking some of the equipment, I try to buy it. I give out my own equipment. I'm a photographer as well, so I have all the equipment at home. If a student has a different camera that I'm not familiar with, we sit here on Zoom and we go through it.
It's great. Thank you. Another question in the Q&A. Do the music and theater departments collaborate? So that can go to
Paula, do you want to take this one?
Well, I'll start with instrumentalists with the theater department or musical theater. Yeah, they play in the pit. So Miss Rosie hires professionals to help conduct and direct and guide the music, and they're also professionals playing on the instruments as well. And one of our superstars, he graduated. He's now at Berklee College of Music. He did, I think, 3 years in the pit playing bass and drums. And he would draw in other band students to come and play with the professionals in the orchestra for the musical theater. So there's a lot of collaboration on that end. And I know that I've got band students, all of a sudden, boom, there they are popping up on the stage, singing their hearts out and dancing. And sometimes they're acting and I'm like, whoa, like Mr. Ritter said earlier, I thought that was a shy student. And yes, maybe they are, but once they get on that stage, it's phenomenal. So maybe Miss Rosie has more she wants to add.
Yeah, that I think there's a lot of collaboration between our music and our theater departments and our art as well. Mr. Foco has helped out with having students design the posters for the musical. I have helped Miss V by running lights at her concerts, or she has been known to music direct a musical herself, although she will not admit it. We all try and collaborate and help each other out as much as we can. And we encourage our students to cross collaborate as well.
Ms. Rosie, do you want to talk about the also collaboration with Ms. Gangrafi in an English department?
Sure. So we are really fortunate that 2 of the members of our English department are actually very accomplished playwrights. And Ms. Rodriguez and Ms. Gangrafi are both published playwrights. So why it would be crazy of me to not take advantage of that. So what we started last year, and we are continuing even in COVID times, is the students, the seniors in particular, develop a character, or they develop a question that they want to focus on in a play. And we meet with Ms. Gangrafi over a couple of meetings before Christmas break. This year, the question that they have chosen is, how does isolation affect people? And she's going to then write a play about the varying different ways that we are isolated, whether it's that we're quarantined. One of the characters is in solitary confinement. One of them is an introvert and thriving. And it really she's amazing that she takes the voices of the students and the perspectives of the students and puts it to paper. And then I have the benefit of co-directing with one of the students that play, and that's their senior project that they graduate with.
That's awesome. Awesome. So much collaboration.
I wanted to just add one more thing. Sorry to interrupt. In terms of the English department, I mean, we're talking cross the departments here, but Jean had mentioned composition, and we do that in the band class at the honors level. They have specific assignments or types of assignments for composition. And we also match with poetry with the Prisms publication. And students have the opportunity to have their own original composition published in our poetry magazine. So I just wanted to, we had mentioned English department. There you go. We're also getting our students composing music, putting it in that venue as well. So.
Perfect. Last question we're going to be asking tonight will be for Ms. Vantrease. What has been your most memorable one-voice performance or showcase at SJND?
Wow, that's a great question as well. So many, but I think the most memorable has to be our first one voice Christmas concert. Isa mentioned that the Christmas concert is like our big claim to fame, and it really is. It's the best moment of the year for us. We get the full community involved. And I think my first year we did a very small, we called it Cocoa and Carols in the cafeteria, and it was very small, very intimate, mostly just a few parents, a few students showed up. And then the very next year we had the Basilica, which is attached to our school, packed, standing room only. So we were really excited to have such a big jump in a year. And I think it meant a lot for the students. It definitely meant a lot for me. We got our faculty and staff involved. We started a tradition where the faculty and staff sing All I Want for Christmas Is You at the end of the concert every year. I see some faculty and staff laughing about it because we're working on it right now. We are still doing that virtually. So it's just, it was definitely a really meaningful and it just holds a place in our hearts, I think, for the choir department.
Thank you. Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much to all of our faculty and our students for sharing all of those experiences. No one can say it better than all of you can. And your experience, both as students and as faculty and leaders, really shows for our VAPA department. So thank you so much for all of your contributions tonight. To shift a little bit, we just want to give some information regarding some upcoming events, some deadlines we have in the admissions office. We have another information session similar to tonight's event, but regarding student life. So going into sports and extracurriculars, campus ministry, student leadership, all of that will be on December 1st, Tuesday, December 1st at 5:30. And regarding our application process, we have some upcoming deadlines. Our early bird application deadline is Friday, December 4th for a reduced application fee of $75. And the final application deadline will be Thursday, January 7th, 2021 for a $115 application fee. So if you are interested in coming to St. Joe's and joining our VAPA department, I would definitely take note of those deadlines and some of these upcoming events.
Thank you, Mr. Obgacion. I think we have the wrong slide share. But I'm just going to talk briefly about the steps of our application process. I know a lot of students and parents are really interested in that, and I am open to have one-on-one meetings with families if you just kind of want to talk it through. But as Mr. Obgacion mentioned, our application is up and available for families. Once you create an application, you have access to a full checklist, and it will walk you through each step of the way. But just to kind of highlight some of those steps for you, we will be offering the high school placement test online on January 9th. Later on in January, we will do family interviews, which is one of my favorite parts of our process. You students and parents will be able to have a face-to-face via Zoom probably this year with one of our faculty members. So any of the faculty members here today, you may be paired with to just get to know you as a student better and also give your family an opportunity to talk and connect with one of our awesome teachers. Students will request transcripts and recommendations from the current school, and that can be done online. Anyone interested in applying for tuition assistance, that deadline is February 8th. And then finally, at the end of March is our admission notification. So again, we are here to walk families through that step by step, and welcome you to schedule a meeting with us. So thank you all for your participation, both those of you who attended live and those who are watching this recording. We appreciate your time, and thank you, and we wish you a safe and healthy, happy holiday season. Take care.